Yay, and we are back. So, moving on. Who are you? I feel like we've seen you in the overworld, actually, in the hotel. Yes, Element Man, and I understood not a word. And I continue to understand not a word. Yes, yes, Element Man, I agree. For sure. I totally agree with what you just said. Who is this, then? Leaf Man. A peaceful forest like this is excellent for my meditation. Is what I would be saying if that idiot burner man wasn't up there screaming like a fool. And here's Commissar Man as well. Ever since the second festival, people have been paying much more attention to me. I'm not one for paparazzi, this quiet forest is more my taste. Where does that grass tile go into the dirt? I don't know, but... Oh, that's burner man. We're doing 101st place. Almost creeping into the top 100. Let's see what we got. Chemical Industry by Chrono MN? With an overall score of 50.80. So half score for design, under half for fun, just under half for creativity, good aesthetics, and functionality, again, suffers from Flashman. They found a way to break it yet again. Oh boy. Ace has actually given this 69. Oh my god. Hang on a sec. Ace really liked this stage. Whoa. Ah. No tokens. Chemical Industry, huh? Okay. I like the song so far. Definitely like the song. Very upbeat. Oh, I like the animated water as well. That looks very nice. Is this going to be a water theme stage of sorts? So far, everything is adding up to the frogs, crabs, animated water. Not expect that to go back. We have no secrets to look for here, so it's an easy way here. There you go. I'll just protect them from it as well, so those are creative uses. Get up there. Oh, hello, what are you gonna do? Explode! Okay. That's what I was expecting. Oh gosh. Oh gosh! It's a swarm! Ooh! Even more? Another screen. Yes, did a moonwalk. I'm so good. Ooh. Okay, slopes. I'm always. Oh my god, you do so much contact damage. I'm curious, how did Flashman break this stage with a free functionality? So it is a water stage. Okay, I'm mad. First one of the stage, so that's okay. One of those in a local one. This time we have to just spot the frog. That's a really poor place, man, mama man. No. What? Okay. Well, let's take this chance to see if we can get the right ability, so. Suppose blob work in a way that the Grey Devil does. It only damages you once it matches on and sticks to you for a bit. Otherwise you're okay. Using the most as obstacles was a tank stake out is good. Creative. I like to see it. Alright, here we go again. Anything to the right? No. Go to left. Right. Oh boy, God's platforms. We're no longer in water, we're in space now. Okay! Noted. So that's what we're doing here. I skipped so much of the stage. I don't know if that was intentional. Normally you should get punished for missing a platform, but because it works downwards, I skipped so much of the stage by accident there. But it's not the end of the stage. Can I even make it up there? No. Hello. Those bubbles are purely as I meant to be tricked as up. Oh boy, the flies are back. Alright. Wait, can I even make this jump? Barely! The song has changed too. What are those? I don't know. Maybe let's not find out here. If we can. Why did you respawn? Respawn again. Oh boy. Okay. I suppose thematically this stage is pretty good. Ooh. And these jumps get quite creative. Being afflicted by the water pouring down on your head, so... Oh. But the jumps are not... No, that's not good, that's really not good. Okay, thanks for the health drop. Oh my god. What am I looking at here? I for sure thought I was fine there. Oh! Perfect timing, huh? Right, because I'm jumping up. Oh. Back to this again. I assume those are spikes. I think they just hurt me a bit. They hurt me quite a lot. Never mind a bit. They hurt a lot. I almost did it again. I think the white one might be okay, as in they hurt you a bit, but the red ones are straight out instead of death if you get touched. Is it right? Is it left? And you want me to slide? That did not feel comfortable. Neither does this really, but... Damn. That is a tight jump. Oh. Ay. And now I'm getting lazy and impatient. And it's immediately showering. As is always the case. With things like this, best is just take them slowly, but surely. That is a super precise jump. What's left then? I thought I messed up already. I don't like this jump. I don't trust it at all. It gets even fancier now. Okay, that is extremely eye-searing. Holy moly. No, 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 we really do not need you. Please stop respawning. This is very jarring on the eyes in a way. Really? You? Okay, the gimmick here is very weird. How it kind of pushes you down. I've never thought this was not on a jet sled, so this is... Well, actually I have. No, actually I have. Or at least I didn't mean to fall down. Oh my gosh, 2 of them? Oh god, you got faster, much faster. I'm still checkpointless, by the way. I would like to get a checkpoint soon. Yeah. This, ow, that was just so lazy. Just started spamming. Could be okay from this point. Left? No. Right? Gotta check. No. Down then. Oh, we're in a pipe? Straight to the boss, huh? I don't know if I want to hit that. Nor do I know what this does. I'm curious. Curiosity! Okay, the animation is awesome. I did not expect that, that's for sure. Where am I going? Okay, very fancy. Okay, what? 2 bosses? What's left? Nothing. That's right then. Boss. Can you come from the left as well? How fitting! Of course it's you! Who else could it have been? Who else could it have been? You can get a custom song. Very much a custom song. Well, at this point, I very much know how to fight, so it's all good. And that is the stage. I did die about 3 times because I started getting impatient in that one segment, which looks like it has a very, very precise jump with the water flowing onto your head. What's the name of the stage again? Chemical industry. Well, it is a water-based stage. It did have some interesting concepts, that's for sure, and thematically it was awesome. Ace obviously really liked it, so let's see what they have to say here. Mick, 52. Mildly surprised this didn't use Chemical Plant for music, from Sonic. But then, this didn't feel super chemically, it's more of a standard water stage, a bit with gutslit added shenanigans. The level sticks out more for its unusual enemy set, Fever, Glooper, and Sybil. Fever somehow is the most normal enemy of the stage. None of its appearances stood out as great, but outside of a few without something to knock you into, it was never used poorly. Glooper is one of the more effective enemies to be with gut slips, zipline sections excluded. And it also makes a pretty interesting turret, that would be the green frog. It also makes a rather frustrating turret due to how much of a damage sponge it is, but for the most part I found it okay. Unfortunately, Sybil is a pain in the tail. The giant clouds of them get annoying after the 4th time, and they tend to come from nowhere and punch you off a cliff. That would be the exploding fly. The other awkward quirk here is the split path, mostly from how pointless it is. The bottom path is presumably, or hopefully, the main path, and it's a decent experience overall. It falls into some of the generic water level trappings, but as a whole it's inoffensive. My biggest complaint, besides Sybil being annoying, is that the waterfalls affect your gravity now, when earlier in the stage they did nothing of the sort. The top path is unreasonably difficult to access with the worst of the bloopers yet, and if you do get it, the painful Sybil clouds are in full force here. On top of multiple killer gut slips, top it all off. There's no real reward to going the top path. I didn't even bother tracking down that one key for tanks because players can just shop for those. I suppose I appreciate that you can't lock yourself out of those tanks with checkpoints, but that's because there's barely any on the top route, which can become quite the pain. Ultimately, as it stands, the reward for succeeding those gut slips is a less entertaining route, which makes me wonder why that top route even exists. All it seems to do is hurt your place. There's probably more to say about this level, but beyond some frustrating points, this really didn't leave much of an impression on me. Could be better, could be worse. I'm sure others will have more to say than I do. Jin, 34. If it weren't for how the split path was handled, this stage probably would have sat a lot better with me. As it is currently, I found this level to be a very frustrating level instead. Initial impressions weren't all that bad, since most of the room layouts leading up to the first problem area are pretty good. Although the repeating rooms, but now with X amount of the same enemies, are a bit questionable. Besides that, plus some odd tile usage, there wasn't much to write home about. However, all of that ends up falling apart once we get to the first gut slip segment. Falling here and in the second gut slip section puts you on the lower / sewer path of the level, which you'll be locked into unless you replay the stage from the beginning. Actually trying to reach the upper path is more trouble than it's worth, however, and it's mainly due to the enemy placement. Looper is a relatively tanky enemy that requires a decent amount of commitment to take down, and the way he's used in the first gut slip segment is nothing short of frustrating. While we can get through it without using weapons to preemptively get rid of him, the precision required is way too much for a section this early in the level. By comparison, the second gut slip segment, as rare as it is to even get there, is way easier thanks to the lack of loopers. The most frustrating part about all of this, though, is that the upper part doesn't really feel all that special compared to the sewers. I guess it's a little bit shorter than the lower path, but not by much. I know I'm harping on the split path a lot, but I think the way it's executed really brings the stage down. A vast majority of this level's issues would be solved if the split path was made an actual choice on the player's part, along with perhaps toning down the blooper and fever usage. Both those enemies, when they're overused together as they are in the stage, make for a very tedious experience, especially if you go in buster only. For what it's worth, I do think you have some solid ideas here. Outside of the first gut slip segment, a lot of the rooms and enemy setups work pretty well. It's just that Glooper is an enemy that wears out its welcome very quickly, especially when it's used as much as it is here. Batchy, 48, Red Mountain Zone Act 3. I considered this one to be a contender for being the least fun stage for me. That is no longer the case, but it's still not very fun. The biggest offender being the enemy roster. The enemies picked here are all atrocious in one way or another, and they get spammed a lot throughout the stage. For example, the frogs that shoot those goo balls at you, forcing you to button mash out of the gooey state if you ever get hit by one, which can leave you vulnerable to other enemies because your shots get absorbed by the goo during it. Even worse is you get forced out of your climbing state too, and fall straight down with no way of re-grabbing until you mash out of the goo. That I didn't know. Good to know. Another obnoxious one is the fly enemy who explodes. With how much they are spammed on one screen, they can easily swarm you, most likely getting you caught in one of those explosions. There's definitely some thought put into the level design. Enemies do complement the platforming challenges for sure, but it mostly consists of the frogs hiding behind reflex blocks which serve to increase the annoyance of the experience furthermore as a side effect. There were spikes that don't look like spikes, so that was fun. Also a somewhat odd design choice of having a split path in the form of if the player found a long-winded gas lift section, yeah, there is just this whole alternate section if you fall off. Since both paths eventually lead to the same boss anyway, and there aren't any tokens to find, there isn't any incentive to stay on the top path. It is essentially redundant since the bottom path ended up being easier of the two. I suppose it was made as some form of mercy. Flashman, how did you break the stage? 51. There are three main things I like about the stage. First, the meaningful use of slopes. Second, god slips, which despite some polish issues are enjoyably tricky, especially when high horn is involved. Third, invisible blocks that are integrated into the challenge, rather than tackled on to stymie any cheating. Regrettably, those positives only go so far in boosting this level's score. Ideally, architecture and screen transitions should consciously define the flow of a level. Considering how easy it is to backtrack into danger, destabilize the scrolling mechanic, get into places you physically can't get out of, and screen transition into oblivion, I can tell this wasn't made by an idealist. Overly frequent screen transitions make the first half feel longer than it actually is, and the paucity of checkpoints and power-ups only aggravates the situation. The vertical section, I'd say the one with all the frogs, but that describes practically every section needs more safety nets to prevent players from losing several screens of progress if they get hit. Enemy swarms and ambushes are individually successful but collectively exhausting and repetitive. Special weapons are too useful here. I'll give you credit for a discernible challenge progression, earnest attempts at safe enemy/gimmick introductions, and aesthetic and gameplay elements working together to create some semblance of theming. Most levels with this many rough edges don't even try. Same deal with the tile work. Even though I could play Art Critic, it's still clear what you were going for, and some sections, e.g. the interior sewer climb, looks rather good. Even the boss, which is blandly plopped in from the dev kit with no alteration that I can detect, was the best possible choice to fit with those aesthetics and challenges. And Ace, who really liked this stage, 69. Mega Man, get your button mashing ready. Honestly, we stuck accessibility settings in the game for many reasons, and this is as good as a place as any to switch on rapid fire. This is a weird one. There are two completely divergent routes. A lesser or more arrogant level designer would force you to go through both routes. The fact that the upper path is a ton more stressful to even get to and the lower is often entered by sheer accident, hey, I did that. This could have completely killed the level's enjoyment. But no, there is one element, one boss, both paths converge. I legitimately appreciate the restraint and it garners a lot of goodwill towards the stage. Whilst there seems to be a rather obvious missing checkpoint at the halfway point, where the player isn't knocked out of an element, just means did it really hurt the level all that much from a casual perspective. Not great for judging, sure, but I doubt it will annoy the end user that much. The difficulty curve of the stage is all over the place. The hardest and most deadly segments is the first few rooms. The mistakes here cause Mega Man to plummet into a pit bound by gooey, slimy death. Past this point, the enemies in the stage are more forgiving but tricky to avoid. The introductions to enemies and gimmicks are pretty solid, considering the enemies are from rather obscure Mega Man games. That is a good thing. Of the two paths, the lower path is the more basic but also the more enjoyable. That said, overall the gas lifts resulted in the best rooms of the level, a rarity given the gimmick. Use of the Game Gear Octopus away as the second phase of the mini-boss here was a nice touch, and both Type Horns, Type Game Boy mid-boss, on the upper path felt different too. There's not much else noteworthy other than the waterfall base jumps do spice it up just enough. On the upper path, several of the rooms with large quantities of Sibyls, the exploding enemy from Type Game Boy, are ridiculously hard to get through unscathed. In a stage full of gut slips and enemies that can entrap you, these fuzzy gifts prove themselves the biggest nuisance. The biggest recurring gripe of the stage is the screen transitions. The use of two-way transitions means scrolling back at best gets you hit by an enemy, but in several instances resulted in the player dying and once getting stuck in a wall and then dying. It's surprising how difficult this makes some rooms. Whilst the graphical tiling is pretty inconsistent, this level has an amazing atmosphere. Konami music is always a highlight. The choices here really enhance the stage, and for the most part the tile set. Secret Plant Zone from Sonic Pocket Adventure and animated Pumpman tile set really help the stage's identity far more than the stock assets suggest. I agree. Thematically, this was really good. We got this water-based theme. I really enjoyed the animated Pumpman assets. Just having the pumps animated adds so much flair and charm. It's a very nice little touch. It's not... It doesn't add much, but it's just there, enough to just give you that better sense of theming that the stage was going for. Gameplay-wise, ooh... I'm worried for this upper path that judges are talking about. I'm not going to be checking it out because I don't have any reason to, and the playthrough will be large enough as it is, so I don't need to cover everything this game has to offer. But I basically failed the Gustman platform and got pushed down into the lower path. I dropped quite a bit, so I guess that is not the intentional solution, but yeah, I got pushed off and ta-da, I was locked to the bottom path. I suppose, like Ace said, the fact you don't have to go through both paths means this isn't frustrating, and you don't get locked out of accessing the second path if you make a mistake, since the checkpoint immediately spawns as you get onto the second path and are locked into it. Overall, this stage was good. It used a bunch of enemies which are pretty uncommon. I've only seen a few of these in some of the previous entries, like the Glupo, which I believe was the green frog. I've never seen Sybil, which was the exploding fly, and the crab, Feebler I think was his name. Again, I've seen them in a few stages, but not often, so I suppose they're from Game Boy. It was a very unique roster, but I think this roster is still better than just having shielded enemies, honestly, because it's diverse. Overall, I think that was a good stage. I got a little bit impatient and died 3 times on one segment, but besides that, the checkpoints did feel pretty sparse as well, but I'm not going to complain about that. It's a good stage overall, deserving of being here. And with that said, I'm going to take a quick refreshing pause and maybe do one more stage for this recording session.